Good evening, everyone. My name is Cole Schrage, and I'm coming to you live from the fire station at SIUE underneath the water tower. This week's installment of Reading Chairs, Creativity Inc., the Ed Catmull story. I've been saving this reading chair for a while. I was looking for a good time to use it, and I feel like right now it would be a good time to use it. So the section that we'll be discussing is Chapter 4, Establishing Pixar's Identity. The chapter starts out by saying, two defining creative principles emerged in the wake of Toy Story. Okay, so what would the two creative principles be? The first was story is king, by which we meant that we would let nothing, not the technology, not the merchandise possibilities, get in the way of our stories. We took pride in the fact that reviewers talked mainly about the way Toy Story made them feel and not about the computer wizardry that enabled us to get it up on the screen. We believe that this was the direct result of our always keeping story as our guiding line. Okay. Second principle, trust the process. We like this one because it was so reassuring. While there are inevitable difficulties and missteps in any complex creative endeavor, you can trust that the process will carry you through. In some ways, this was no different than any optimistic trait, except that because our process was so different from other movie steals, we felt that it had real power. Pixar was a place that gave artists running room, gave directors control, that trusted its people to solve problems. I have always been wary of rules because all too often they turn out to be empty plateaus that impede thoughtfulness. But these two principles actually seem to help our people, which was good. So I've been waiting to use those two until a little further into the semester, and I felt like this was a good time to use it with the semester being about 4 weeks left to go. Two principles. Story is king. How can we apply that story is king into what we're doing in class? Well, when I read through this chapter and I looked at story is king, I referenced it back to my document in the Morrison model. When I started the Morrison model, I didn't think that I was going to get to 24 pages, and that's where I'm at right now, and I still believe that there's room to grow into it. So by listening to that principle of story is king and make it about the story, not all the technicalities, which was actually kind of ironic because I based my project on the document and the process compared to not worrying about as much of the production. So that one really sunk in with me. I really like the fact that Catmull talks about the story is king. Make a good story and everybody's going to remember it, and that's what they're going to talk about. The other principle, trust the process. Actually, that statement I usually do not like. I tend to be a very black and white person. So to hear somebody tell me trust the process, that, it will be there, I know it's not here now, but it will be there. That doesn't sit well with me. But actually, having taken a second attempt at the Morrison model and here in Design Studio 2, I feel like trusting the process is actually very appropriate, especially when you're talking about the Morrison model, because you have to trust that everything that you're doing is going to collectively come together and you're going to have this fantastic project. So I guess I raised the question of, can we rationalize those two to being a designer? Should story be king when we are designing? And do we need to trust the process? And which process is the one that we need to trust? I feel like those two principles, whether they may be slightly vague, they also are very deep in the fact that they're going to make you think and make you rationalize what needs to be done within your own project. So I would love to hear some feedback, see what you guys think, see what you think about story is king and trusting the process. Hopefully, we get some good conversation about it. I am signing off, though. Have a good night.